Hello, welcome to Women and Girls Voice Advocacy Initiative. My name is Haminat. Hello, welcome to November. It's November, it's a beautiful month. It's just 1 month left. 1 month left before we say bye-bye to 2024. I know. For some people, they've already started reflecting on how they spend the year. For others, they'll wait till December before they start reflecting. But then if you are one of those that have started reflecting on how you spent the year, what you have been able to achieve, what you have not been able to achieve, then this message is basically for you. Why it is good to reflect, why it is a great thing to check up on your goals, check around what you have been able to do, what you have not been able to do, and compare it with other people's own. It is important to focus on ourselves. It is important to focus on other positive things. But before I go further on that, there was a question from a 25-year-old young lady who said she's 25 and she feels like she's wasted a whole lot of her years. Like, I'm very sure if she says she's wasted like a whole lot of her years, she meant maybe like 10 years or 8 years of her years, because she's probably talking about when she becomes an adult up to that 25 years age, which is like from 20 years or maybe 18 years and above. So she became vulnerable. For someone to be vulnerable, to start talking about her life, like, okay, she has looked at her life, she has looked at all the things that she wanted to do at that age, she has looked at all the ones that she has not been able to achieve, and she has looked at the possibility of not achieving them, and she felt like she should ask question, which is a very, very good thing that she's done to herself. She has questions around what else can she make out of life at that age. What else can she make out of life at that age? And I'm saying this, I know lots of people out there, a lot of ladies out there, a lot of women out there, even young men out there. They look at their lives, they look at what they have achieved at the moment, they look at their struggles, they look at their success. Some can't even point at anything. They looked at other people of their age, they look at people below them, and they kind of feel like, am I late to this party? Like, can I even still do something with my life? I want to give you this message today. Whatever your age is, you might be 25, you might be 30, you might be 40, you might be 50 self, and you might just be 20, 22 years old. Whatever your age is, I want to believe that life begins at the moment you tell it that it begins. No matter what your age is, at 25 years old, you are still very young. You're young. You're young. Yes, I'm going to say this with my full chest. You are young because the only thing that is making you feel as if you are old and doesn't look like you can do anything with your life anymore is because you are comparing your life with 23 years old, you're comparing your life with 21 years old, with 20 years old people, girls like you. And when you see a 20-year-old young lady driving a big car or already made a name for herself, you kind of feel like you are old. That is it. Meanwhile, there are other people that are far, far, far older than you, like 40 years, 50 years, that have not even done half of what you are able to do. So let's even say you've not even done anything. I want you to remember that at 25 years old, it's not too late for you to make something out of your life. In fact, you still have a very far, far, far years along ahead of you if you are opportune to be alive. if you are opportune to still stay alive, if God grants you long life, it means you still have a very long years to spend on this earth. It means you still have so many opportunities that you can tap into. It means you still have a good years ahead of you. So don't look at your life and tell yourself that at 25 there's really nothing I can do again. A lot of people look at their lives even at 30, at 35, and they feel like it's late. There's no one that is late. There's no one that is late. It depends on our mindset of what we call it. It depends on the kind of people we are comparing our lives with. There are people that started their journey to success at the age of 30, at the age of 40, at the age of 50. There are people that gave birth at the age of 50 and above. There are people that even got married at the age of 40 because that is when they found their love. There are people that have wanted to write books all their lives, but they were not able to do that until they reached the age of 60. Sometimes there are things that are just beyond our control. We plan, we set goals, we work towards the goal, but it just won't happen. It just won't happen. So I want you to remember that you're still young and you can still make something out of life. The second one I want you to do while you are having this kind of thought about what can I do to make the most out of what is remaining of my life is to seek help. That person that came to say, I am 25 and I think I've wasted a whole lot of my years. I don't know what the person means in terms of wasting your years. Every endeavor, whatever you must have done, should either be serving as an experience for you to do better or as a lesson for you to avoid future mistakes. So if, for example, you've done so many things that you can't even be bold enough to talk about, they should serve as lessons. They should serve as motivation for you not to repeat them again. They should serve as something that will remind you whenever you want to take another step that is similar to that. So if you take all those things that you think you might have done that you're not supposed to do, if you put them together, instead of wallowing in pity, instead of beating yourself and wondering why you do all those things, the best thing is to pick the lessons out of it and tell yourself that you are not going to allow these things to repeat itself anymore. So if you are struggling with these thoughts, you should seek help. Talk to someone. So many young ladies, so many young folks nowadays, they don't want to talk to people. They don't want to speak because they feel like they feel like they are intelligent enough. Maybe that's the only word that I can use at this moment. They don't want to speak to an adult. Gone are those days when whatever problem we are facing, we quickly run to an elderly person, we ask them for advice. Now, people just go to Google, search for information, and just follow advice randomly. They don't ask people, physical people, for experience. They don't ask their mothers, they don't ask their fathers, they don't ask even the so-called people they are calling their mentors. They don't ask for advice. They just do things randomly. That is for those that even go ahead to search for information on the internet. But for others, they will just keep things to themselves. You don't have to keep things to yourself. You don't have to keep these thoughts to yourself. You should seek help. Talk to a trusted person. Talk to an adult. Talk to someone that you think would understand how you're feeling. Nobody is going to make a mock of you. If you are talking to a 30 years old person or 35 years old person, you shouldn't feel ashamed of yourself because you are even far younger than the person you're talking to. And besides, even if you have to talk to a 20-year-old person and you are 25, it doesn't matter because advice can come from any angle. Advice can come from anybody as long as you know that who you are talking to have more experience than you are, or who you are talking to can be trusted, who you are talking to can really understand and relate to whatever you're sharing with them. So seek help if you are ever feeling this way about your life. The other one you can do at that age, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you've not made anything out of life, if you feel like you've not achieved anything, if you feel like you are at the back, is to think about what you have always wanted to do in life. Think about the education you've always wanted to pursue, if you have managed to pursue it and probably you're still struggling with getting a job, how about you getting a skill? How about you looking for all these in-demand skills now and seeing which one you can learn and how you can leverage on technology to better your life? There are many other things that you can do now that will give you an edge over others. You don't have to sit down and be pitying yourself and be complaining and be saying you're stuck when you are not talking to people or when you are not picking up new challenges. So if you've always wanted to go to school, don't ever think because you're 25 years old, you are too old to go to school. There are people that are 40 years old that are picking university forms to go back to school because that is what they have always wanted to do in their lives. Because that is what they've always wanted to do in their life. So if you are that person too, at that age, you're still very young to go back to school. You can still go back to school, and with your mindset and determination, you can make something out of that school. Because if you don't do it now, believe me, if you think you're too old to go back to school, for example, by the time you are 29 years, by the time you are 35 years, you will reach that age that you're thinking, oh, if I go to school now and go and study a 4-year course, for example, by the time I complete that course, I'll be 29 years old. Either you go back to school or you don't, you will reach that age. So why not just go for it? So don't ever look at yourself and say, I am too old, because I'm seeing some 19 years old children that are already graduating, that are already doing something for themselves. So how can I even start doing something at this my age? I must tell you, I graduated at a very, very young age, like I think 21, going to 22. And by the time I went for my youth service, I saw other young folks that were like 19. Meanwhile, at that age, I thought I was young, but there were other younger people. At the same time, there were people of 28, 29 years old that we were together in the same camp. That is how life is. That is to tell you that life is just what you call it for yourself. While I am looking at myself as being young, there are other people that are 19 years old, younger than me, when we're in the same camp. So what do you expect people that are 29 years old, that are 30 years old, how do you expect them to be feeling? Serving at the same time with 19 years old and 21 years old. So don't ever look at your age and say you are too old to go back to school. At 25, you can still go back to school and make something out of your life. If you think education is the hard part for you, maybe you are struggling to get your O-level results, or you're struggling to gain admission, think of other things that you can do. You can learn a skill, vocational skill, and you will thrive well, depending on your mindset, depending on how determined you are. Okay, the next one I would want to talk about is in terms of being patient and being persistent. See, yes, I know the pressure is there. There's nothing that is really making anyone feel this way other than the pressure from the society. When you look everywhere, you see people doing better than you. It's actually hard to focus on people that are not doing up to you. The focus is always on people doing better than you. And these people are not just ordinary people that are older than you in age or something. They are people that are far, far, far younger than you. So the focus has always been around, when am I going to be as successful as these people? The focus has always been around, when am I ever going to be as successful as these people? Meanwhile, success is a journey. Success is a journey. It takes time. People hardly come to the internet, for example, to social media, to post step by step their daily struggles. They will post their results because they know that is what people want to see. People want to see you graduating from school. They want to see you buying your new car. They want to see you buying a new house and celebrating it. Nobody wants to see how you are able to do that. Even if you manage to post how you are able to do that, no one is actually interested. They are more interested in seeing the results of your hard work. Meanwhile, you should have it at the back of your mind that success is a journey. Nobody will wake up. Even the one that is doing illegal thing must have done something, must have done some hard work to get to that point where they are calling what they did success. So I want you to be patient with yourself. If you are taking one bold step today to say, this is what I want to do now, I want you to remember that you shouldn't expect success immediately at the end of it. If, for example, if you're going back to school, you will not expect yourself to get your certificates the following day. It will take time. It will take years to make that happen. So whatever you are doing presently, whatever your endeavor, even if it feels like you are not seeing the results, even if it feels like you are not making much progress, even if you are building a social media platform or something and you feel like you are not getting the visibility, don't worry about it. Just keep doing your things. Keep doing your things as long as you are happy doing it, as long as it's something you've always wanted to do. The success would come. And in fact, most of those type of success usually come when you don't even prepare for it. So keep on being you. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. Don't give up in between. Don't focus on other people doing better than you. Those are just distractions. You will be distracted. You would want to pause what you are doing, even when you could have made so much progress if you are persistent. And again, the other one I'll talk about is in terms of networking. Yes, that you are not doing well with other people that are around you, that you are still struggling to make something out of your life, that you think you might not have an opinion to participate in something or to share how you feel, does not mean that you shouldn't find a way to network. Don't sit in the corner of your room and just be in a bad mood and be sad. That's not going to help you in any way. It's not going to change anything for you. You have to network. You have to talk to people. You have to be fun. You have to make friends. You have to remember that life has got no duplicate. Either you are 25 years old or you are 40 years old, it doesn't change anything about your end result, the end goal. Network with people. Speak about what is affecting you. Don't keep to yourself and say, whatever you say, I don't want to. You should talk. You should share how you feel. You should talk about your opinions. You should say things that makes you happy. You should say things that you're not comfortable with. If you don't talk now, you will not still talk in another 5 years. So why not just talk now? Why do you want to delay? Why do you want to say because you've not been able to achieve this? Why do you want to say because some people knows about your past? You don't want them to come at you. No. Network, collaborate with people. Put yourself forward and ask how you can be of help. That way you are building your capacity, you are networking, you are going far. You don't have to seclude yourself and say you want to be living in isolation until you make it. No. The other one I would be mentioning is in terms of wellness. Let me tell you something. A lot of people at 35 years, 50 years old, they look back at their lives and they feel like, I wish I had taken my health seriously. I wish I had focused on living a good life, like health-wise this time around. Maintaining a good lifestyle. A lot of people are sitting down and thinking and wishing they can turn back the hands of time. Yes. So if you feel like, well, I'm still 25 years old and maybe when I'm 40 or when I'm 50, I'll start taking my health seriously. You're mistaken. You should start prioritizing your health now because it is what you do that becomes an habit. You should start cutting down on whatever that is not giving you a good lifestyle, whatever that is affecting your health. You should start prioritizing your wellness at this point, your well-being, and you shouldn't wait until you get to that age of 30. 30 is still better, 40, 50, because the energy you have now, you won't have it by that time. So, but by the time you started building yourself now, by the time you started prioritizing now, it becomes part of you, and you don't struggle to continue by the time you reach those ages. So don't say because you're 25, you're not going to focus on those type of things. And lastly, which is really important, We are all different in this journey called life. We are all different in this journey called life. We can't afford to compare our lives with other people. We can't say because we are twins and one person is having a life well structured, going on well, we can't say we can't say that is exactly how our life is supposed to be too. No, it doesn't work that way. If it really works that way, we could have just look at someone's life and say, this is the kind of life I want, and it might just be like that. And there's no specific timeline for success. No specific timeline for success. Always remember this. When you wake up in the morning, maybe you are going to write it somewhere and paste it where you see it every time. Always remember that there's no specific time for success. No specific timeline for success. When the success comes to you, you will be celebrated at whatever age it is. So don't put pressure on yourself. Don't put that pressure on yourself of, I am late. You are not late to success. You are not late to be successful. No matter what age you are, things can still turn around for you. That is if you give it the chance, and if you put in some work, and if you are determined not to give up on the journey or to give up on the way to that success. So, I hope I've been able to address this to the best of my knowledge. I hope I've been able to change your mind. You have a different journey, you have a different path, and you shouldn't compare yourself with anybody. You shouldn't be too hard on yourself. You can still make something out of life. Don't give it up yet. Don't think this is what life has got to offer. There's still many other things that you can do. And I hope you can prioritize your wellness today. I hope you can sit down, think about what you want to do right from this moment, and tell yourself that nothing is going to hold me back again. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Don't forget to follow this page. Don't forget to share this video. And don't forget to invite your friends as well to follow this page. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.